will be called as desertification. Okay, so today we will be talking about wildlife sanctuaries, the national parks, and biosphere reserves. Okay, and hopefully the chapter will be finished today. All right, so let's talk about the wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, before that, Ahmed, explain to me what do you mean by species?
Species.
Yeah, species. Around you,
So a group of people which belong in a same category is
not
called
people,
species.
not people, organism.
Yes,
It could
sir.
be plants as well. Okay,
Yes, sir.
a group of population, a group of organisms, or basically a group of population of organisms that can interbreed themselves and give birth to new offsprings of the same kind are called as species. Right? Okay. Got this, Ahmed? You got this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, we were talking about wildlife sanctuaries. Okay. So in a wildlife sanctuary, what we see that it is a spatial area designated for conservation of wildlife, for endangered plants and endangered animals, right? So apart
Yes,
from animals, there are some plants which are also endangered, right? So which there are some plants which are in great demand for medicinal uses, right? And there are some plants which are used for making so many different types of items which are sold at an expensive price in the market, so they are also in endangered category. Okay, so wildlife sanctuaries are like reserve forests. See here, wildlife sanctuaries like reserve forests provides protection and a suitable environment for wild animals and plants as well. Okay, read this paragraph, Farhan.
so the yellow.
Yeah, this one.
Some of the threatened wild animals like black buck, white-eyed buck, elephant, golden cat, pink-headed duck, gharial, marsh crocodile, python, rhinoceros, etc. are protected and preserved into our wildlife sanctuaries. In Indian sanctuaries have unique landscape, broad level forest, mountains, forest, and bushlands in deltas of big rivers.
Yeah. Okay, so you see, these are some of the threatened wild animals. Like you have got black buck, white-eyed buck, golden cat, pink-headed duck, and gharial. These are some of the animals whose survival is in danger. They are threatened wild animals. Like their population is decreasing day by day. So they are kept in various sanctuaries. Okay, and these sanctuaries offers them a very good landscape, a natural habitat where they can grow. So food it is ensured that the animals living in the wild sanctuaries are getting proper nutrients. Okay, are they, being properly given medical treatment in case they have got some infection. In fact, if you have got very limited any amount of limited number of animals living in the sanctuary, they are breeded. Okay, and under proper care they are breeded, and they are provided with, their offspring is provided with sufficient care and nourishment so that their population can also flourish, right? So why we are basically protecting them? Because the different types of organisms living in our environment are very crucial in maintaining the ecological balance, right? So a term comes here,
Yes.
ecology. So ecology, what is it? Ecology is basically, it's a field where the relationship between humans and animals and their environment is studied. Okay, so in ecology we study about organisms the relationship between organisms and the environment. Okay, and each and every organism is responsible to maintain ecological balance. Even the ants, mosquitoes, different types of worms, different types of bacteria, they are very important in nature. Even if even if one species is killed, or I mean, if their population is wiped off, okay, the other species who are dependent on them, their survival will also be endangered, right, guys? So that is the importance
Yes,
why
sir.
we need to protect them. And one more thing about wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, wildlife sanctuaries have got forest in them as well. uh, Apart from giving protection to plants and animals, in wildlife sanctuaries, certain activities like grazing the livestock and collecting medicinal plants and firewood is allowed. Okay, so as we saw in this Panchmari Reserve, Panchmari Biosphere Reserve, see this one. Okay, it's a very big area here, and in this Biosphere Reserve, remember, out of Biosphere Reserve, out of wildlife sanctuary, I'm writing in short, and national parks, the one having largest area is a Biosphere Reserve. All right, guys, that's a very bigger area, and it can consist of wildlife sanctuaries and national parks also. Okay, so see, this Pachmari Reserve has got a Pachmari Sanctuary and Satpura National Park as well here. Okay, so in this Biosphere Reserve, there are so many local peoples living as well. So those local peoples are also allowed to collect firewood, medicinal plants, and they're also allowed to graze their domesticated animals in the land. Okay, so note few important things about wildlife sanctuary. One, it is an area designated for conservation of forest and animals. Okay. Two, peoples are allowed to graze their livestock and collect firewood and medicinal plants from wildlife sanctuary. All right, guys. Okay. Ahmed, read this paragraph from here. From here.
Where, sir?
From here.
From some of the threatened wild animals like black
No,
buck,
no, from here.
white-eyed
From here.
buck, elephant.
Ahmed, stop.
It
From
is
here.
it is a pity, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, it is a pity that even protected forests are not safe because people living in the neighborhood encroach upon and
Encroach
then
upon them.
encroach upon them and destroy them. Children
Encroach
are
basically
reminded.
means Encroachment basically means occupying a land illegally. Okay, so the land that is meant for protected forest, people have started to build their homes over there. Okay, so that is an illegal activity. Okay, read further.
Okay, children are reminded for their visit to the zoo. They recall that zoos are also places where animals receive protection.
Yeah. So zoo is a basically a region, area where animals are protected.
Yes.
Okay, so that is especially meant for protection of animals, and it is on public display. Okay, so that people are made aware of the different types of animal species, right? But even you see, in here in India and in many parts of the world, the animals living there are in pathetic condition, right? In most of the cases, you will see the animals are not being taken care of properly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so because the thing is now, the animals are basically being locked in cages. Okay, in small cages they are being put. That is not their natural habitat, right? So how will they grow, and how their population is going to flourish if they are not kept in natural environment? If you kept monkeys or elephants or different types of animals in cages, will they be able to grow properly? No.
No, sir.
Exactly. Then next comes national park. Okay, so on the roadside there was another, it's still talking about Bujo and Paheli. Okay, so on the roadside they saw that there was another board on which it was written Satpura National Park. Okay, So they asked Madhavji what these are. Okay, so children they were eager to go there. So Madhavji tells them that these reserves are large and diverse enough to protect whole sets of ecosystems. Okay, so now he says them that national parks are even larger than wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, and they are so large that it is meant to protect a very large set of ecosystem. Right, guys? So ecosystem is what? As I said, it is basically as I said earlier, it is basically a system in which organisms lives in relation with its environment. Okay, so in an ecosystem, you will see different types of animals are living in different types of habitats. Okay, you will see birds living in the trees, fishes and gharials living in the water, and there are some terrestrial animals. Okay, so these constitutes a ecosystem. Okay, so ecosystem they will preserve flora or what? They are types of plants found in a given region, and it will protect fauna as well. Okay, landscape and historic objects of an area. Right. Oh, earlier we talked about endemic species. What do you guys know about endemic species? Yes, Sarhan and Ahmed. In previous class, we talked about endemic species. ENDEMIC. What are they?
Subspecies which are endangered.
No. Those, yes, they are endangered. That is correct. But we have got certain plants and animals that are found in a given region only, and they are nowhere to be found else in the world. Okay, so there are some species of plants and animals, like we talked about flying squirrel, wild mango, right? Giant squirrel. So these are species which are being found only in Panchmari Reserve. They are nowhere else to be found in the world. Okay. As per the NCERT, it says that they are found only in Panchmari reserves and not found elsewhere in the world. So those species which are found only in a specific area, they are called endemic species. All
Excuse me,
right.
sir.
Yes, Arhan.
Don't the animals hunt each other if they are kept in a sanctuary at one place?
Sanctuary at one place. Yes, they hunt each other. Okay, but basically they are kept in separation from each other. Okay, and in fact, you see the animals are fed also in wildlife sanctuaries, right? But you will see in a wildlife sanctuary, animals are usually kept separate from each other. But in a national park, it is a very large area. Okay, and animals tend to the nature of animals. You will see that they will mark their territory. If you see lions and tigers, they will basically mark their territory, right? And if another animals enters their territory, they will not allow them to enter into their territory, right? So national parks, as I said, it is so large that it can protect a whole set of ecosystem in which different types of animals might be living. So in national parks, the animals are not physically separated from each other. They can hunt down each other. Okay, but wildlife sanctuaries, animals are offered protection. All right. So one example of a national park here is the Satpura National Park, and in fact it was the first reserve forest of India. Okay, and it says the finest Indian teak is found in this forest. Okay, and there are more than 100 national parks in India. There are almost 105 national parks in India. Okay, Arhan, read this paragraph.
Rock shelters are found inside the Satpura National Park. These are evidences of prehistoric human life in these jungles. These give us an idea of life of primitive people. Rock paintings are found in these shelters. A total of 55 rock shelters have been identified in Pachmari Biosphere Reserve. Figures of animals and men fighting, hunting, dancing, and playing musical instruments are depicted in these paintings. Many tribals still live in this area.
Okay. So we get to know one more thing here, that apart from protecting flora and fauna and landscape of that region, historic things are also protected in national park, since they give us information about the earlier humans living in that region. Okay, the primitive lifestyle, we get to know get to have an idea of the primitive lifestyle of early humans, right? Since primitive humans, they used to draw paintings on rocks of hunting, of daily activities, right? And they used to draw paintings of dancing. Okay, they used to draw paintings of musical instruments. So they gave us information about the lifestyle of primitive people as well. So that's why it becomes important to conserve them as well, right, guys? So how many rock shelters are there in Panchmani Biosphere Reserve? There are as many as 55 rock shelters, right, guys? Rock shelters are basically those areas, those shelters in which people used to live. Okay. Now, as the children's Bujo and Pehli were moving ahead, now they saw a board on which it was written Satpura Tiger Reserve written on it. So Madhavji here explains to them that Project Tiger was launched by the government to protect the tigers in the country. Now, earlier the population of tigers were very limited in India, but now it is blooming. Okay, so the objective of this project was to ensure that to ensure the survival and maintenance of the tiger population in the country, right? Okay, see these figures, the images of the tiger is given here. Okay, so we know that it is the one of the species that is disappearing from our forest. Okay, but with the initiative of governments and so many local agencies, their population is now again growing. Okay, and what is unique about this Satpura Tiger Reserve is that has been a significant increase of tigers, especially in this reserve. Okay, so further it says that once upon a time, animals like lions, elephants, wild buffaloes, and Barasinga were also found in the Satpura National Park. Okay. Once upon a time, these animals were also found in the Satpura National Park. Okay, but they are not found nowadays. So animals whose numbers are decreasing day by day and their population is about to face extinction, they are basically known as endangered animals. Okay. Okay, so Bujo is reminded of the dinosaurs. Now Bujo reminds of the dinosaurs which became extinct a very long period ago, a long time ago. Okay, so survival of some animals has become difficult because of disturbances in their natural habitat. Like if suddenly, let's say, the air is too polluted, the water becomes too polluted, or the temperature increases, then naturally the habitat of humans is also will also be affected. Okay, so that will affect our survival as well. In the same manner, it is common for animals as well. The habitat change is equally dangerous for animals as well, right, guys? Since in an ecosystem, few climatic factors are common for all. If it changes, it will affect all of them. Can you name some of them? I just mentioned few of them.
Can you repeat, sir?
I say that in the ecosystem, there are various climatic factors that ensures that they continue to survive. But those climatic factors, if they change, then our population, or let's say the population of all the organism, will be endangered. What could be the certain factors? Like it could be
Yeah, the
temperature.
disbalance of ecosystem.
Yeah, disbalance of ecosystem. Very good. Okay, so how that disbalance will happen? If there is,
If one or two species goes in danger, extinct.
yes. Okay, and talking about climatic factors, so if the temperature increases, or if there is no rainfall, right? So climatic factors will have impact on all the species of ecosystem, and it will equally impact them, right? So Professor Ahmed now tells them that in order to protect plants and animals, strict rules have been imposed in national parks. Like human activities like grazing or poaching. Poaching means illegal killing of animals for their precious body parts. Like rhinoceros are killed for their horns, right? Elephants are also killed for their tooth, right? Because precious ornaments and precious jewelries are made from their body parts. So animal poaching, animal hunting, grazing, all these human activities, even collecting of firewood, all these activities have been prohibited in a national park. Why? Because especially endangered animals are put in national parks, right, guys? Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Read from here, Ahmed. Madhavji tells that Paheli. This paragraph. Read this one.
Oh, okay, sir. Madhav ji tells Paheli that small animals are all much more in danger of becoming extinct than the bigger animals. At the time, we kill snakes, frogs, lizards, bats, and owls ruthlessly without realizing their importance in the ecosystem. By killing them, we are harming ourselves. They might be small in size, but their role in ecosystem cannot be ignored. They form part of food chain and food web. An ecosystem is
Okay.
made of all the
Okay, stop there. So you guys tell me, let's say if we wipe off all the ants, what will happen? How it will damage the food chain or our ecosystem?
So, since um,
Look, these small animals, whether we talk about lizards or whether we talk about different types of ants, house flies, they eat various types of dead and decaying matter. They eat smaller insects, and they basically helps in cleaning our environment, right? So if there's a dead organism lying somewhere, and suppose we have wiped off population of all the animal organism that helps in decomposition, so that will lead to a spread of deadly diseases, because that dead organism is not getting decomposed. So harmful bacteria are going to spread in the environment, coming out of their body, right,
yes,
guys?
sir. Yes, sir. And since ants are eaten by some other species, they will also be in danger if they do not have any
Yeah.
source of
Yes.
dependence.
So there's animal called antelope. That is an ant eater. Is that correct? Antelope is the animal, right?
Yes,
That
sir.
eats that eats ants, right? Same is for other smaller animals as well. For lizards as well. Lizards eats smaller insects and cockroaches, etc. Okay. So they are very crucial as well, no matter whether they are small or big. Okay. So an ecosystem is made up of all the plants, animals, and microorganisms in an area, along with non-living components also. Okay. And it is equally important to preserve all of them. Okay. Now there's a book that is red data book. Okay, so what this red data book is, it is basically a book which consists data of all the endangered animals and plants. So if you type red book on Google, you will get you will get data of all those animals which are on the list of endangered category, right guys? And it is internationally maintained by an organization. Each year they keep on updating it, like which like if the population of some animal increased, then it is removed from the endangered list, or if the population of some animal is decreasing, then it is included in this red data book. All right guys. Okay,
Yes,
and in fact each country maintains it. Okay, India also maintains a red data book, right? Since the biodiversity of each country is different, so each country maintains a red data book for themselves. And on a international level also, we have got red data book, which consists data of all the different types of plants and animals globally. Okay, then here it's migration. Okay, so read this one, Arhan.
the excursion party then enters deeper into the forest under the guidance of Madhavji. They sit near the tower reservoir to relax for some time. Paheli observes some of the birds near the river. Madhavji tells the children that they are migratory birds. These birds have flown here from other parts of the world. Migratory birds fly to far away areas every year during a particular time because of climate changes. They fly for laying eggs as the weather in their natural habitat becomes very cold and inhospitable. Birds who cover long distances to reach another land are known as migratory birds.
Yes. So due to climate change, now in their region, uh, if it's the season of laying egg, the birds cannot, for suppose if in their region where the bird is living, the climate is too cold, if the bird lays the egg in that climate, then the eggs will not hatch. Okay, their babies will die in the egg. So they travel to far away areas where the climate is warmer so that they can lay eggs there, right? So mainly in spring season also, or when the winter is about to end, in that season also you will find that there are so many migratory birds coming into our areas, into our regions, right? So we are disturbing their migration as well. We are disturbing their migration also. How are we doing that? See, on several islands you will see migratory birds from Arctic regions comes to lay egg. Okay, but due to human activities, what is happening? Those islands are being occupied by the humans. Okay, and it is now the birds are not able to lay their eggs there because of the human activities in that. So it's in that area. Let's say this is an island where migratory birds come to lay eggs. But now, if the humans have inhabited that island, okay, the birds will not be coming to that region because the human activities will not allow the eggs to hatch there. Okay, or basically simply because the land has been taken up for construction purposes, for building purposes. The trees, the forest of that region is being cut down. So that the human activity is disturbing the migration of birds as well. Right, guys? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
now another thing we need to know about is recycling of paper. Okay, so recycling, we know why it is necessary, recycling of paper or any component, because there's no need for obtaining the raw material again from the nature. Okay, so that we can reduce the pressure on our natural resources. Okay, because it is not unlimited, the resources are limited now. Okay, like apart from water and air and soil, other resources are limited, whether it's forests or another components. Okay, so that's why we need to recycle them. For example, we have got paper. Paper is a component. Okay, if you get to take data, you will observe just for the paper used in cigarettes, just for the papers used in cigarettes, lakhs of trees are cut down every month just for the paper used in making up of a cigarette, right, guys? And there are thousands of other components in which papers are used. So it is very necessary that we should recycle the paper. Okay, and we should try to buy the materials which are made from recycled paper, so their production can be promoted, right, guys? So that will help us not only save energy but also water as well. Okay, and you know that for production of paper, lots of water is required. It is a water intensive process. It requires water in bulk amount. Okay, and moreover, the amount of harmful chemicals used in the paper making will also be reduced. Okay, you guys can also try to make a paper at home as well. Just take few old newspapers or old papers, soak them in water. Okay, soak them in water and just spread it on a piece of tiles, on a flat ground. Just spread it and let it dry in the sun, and also put some weight over it. Then your recycled paper is ready to be used. All right. Reforestation, it is basically what? Deforestation or afforestation. Also, it is called as afforestation.
So the reverse of deforestation.
Yes, that is afforestation or reforestation. Okay. So why is it important, Ahmed? Why deforestation is important? Just give 2 or 3 points why there is a need for reforestation.
Sir, deforestation helps in human regular human life of constructions and manufacturing furnitures and etc.
No, why there is need for reforestation? That is the
So
question.
can I,
Yeah, Arhan, you
for land.
explain it.
so since trees produce oxygen, we should replant trees so that more oxygen can be produced. The second point is that trees hold the soil together. That does not allow the soil to be eroded or by flood or by air. And and the third point is that the animals get their shelters back and their habitat back.
That is habitat conservation. Okay. Ahmed, you give me some points why reforestation is necessary apart from these 4 points.
Uh,
There are still few points. You can add them. Just think. Like planting more and more trees will do what? It will.
it will
Yeah.
reduce the carbon dioxide
Very good. And
and
that will indirectly do what? Reduce CO2. That will also reduce global warming, right?
yes,
Since
sir.
if the concentration of CO2 is, yes, Arhan?
So because trees bring rain, so can be counted as a point.
Exactly, exactly. Important in water cycle. It plays a crucial role in water cycle since transpiration occurs from it. Transpiration means evaporation of water from leaves. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Likewise, we can add few other points in it as well. Can you guys think of some other important points? Ecological balance. Logical balance. Balance between nature and organisms. Right. So these were some important points. Why afforestation is important. Okay. So here in India, we have got forest conservation acts as well. Okay, you see, during the colonial era, when the Britishers were ruling in India, you see the different tribal peoples who were living in forest. They were restricted from collecting timber from the forest, from collecting from. They were restricted. They were not allowed to graze their animals in the forest, right? And in fact they were not also allowed to collect herbal plants from herbal materials from the forest. Why? Because at that time railways were being constructed and woods were required in railways and various construction projects were going on. Okay. And later on we got the forest conservation act because the forests were being cut down at an alarming rate here in India as well. Okay. So then we got in Forest Conservation Act, and the act was basically meant at preservation and conservation of our national forests because the national forests do not grow in a year or two. It takes decades to grow. Right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So with this, the chapter I guess it ends here. All right. So you guys tell me. I will be asking a few basic questions here. Okay. You guys, first, Ahmed, you tell me what. Give me two examples of endemic species.
Mm,
It is found in the Pachmadi Reserve, as mentioned in the chapter.
yes, sir, but I don't know what that means. Sir, I don't know what are endemic.
Endemic species are those species that are found in a region and it is nowhere to be found else. It is specifically found in a given region only.
Oh,
Sir, can I name
Yeah.
it? Sir, a golden cat and pink-headed.
No, those were no endangered animals. No, those are endangered animals. You are giving examples of Arhan. Giant squirrel. Giant squirrel was an example. Wild mango plant.
Sir, flying
Flying
squirrel.
squirrel. Yes, these were
Okay,
the
sir. Okay.
examples. Okay. And you tell me about red data book. What does it consist of? What does it consist of?
For me,
Yeah.
the right data book is the data of the of a particular country in which
No,
the data tells that how many indigenous species, endemic species is located.
not endemic species. It is only about endangered species. Okay. Red data book consists of list of endangered animals. What does it consist of? It consists of record or basically list of endangered animals. Or endangered species, it's better to say because it could be plants and animals as well. All right, guys.
okay. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Out of national park, a sanctuary, and biosphere reserve, which one is largest in area?
The national biosphere.
Biosphere reserve. Okay, that is correct. Okay. All right. So let's move to these questions here. Okay. See these questions here. Fill in the blanks. Okay. The questions are pretty easier here. Okay. A place where animals are protected in their natural habitat is called what?
Forest.
Not forest. We have talked about biosphere reserves, we have talked about wildlife sanctuaries, and we have talked about national parks. It's a biosphere
Sir,
reserve,
it's
guys.
biosphere reserve.
Yeah,
It's
it's a biosphere reserve. Okay, which is a very large area designated for protection of the natural habitats of animals. Okay, see, second question.
Endemic species.
Okay, very good. Third one.
some clan.
Yes,
Sir, it's clan.
climatic changes. Okay. Now, different. You guys need to differentiate between the following: wildlife sanctuary and biosphere reserve, zoo and wildlife sanctuary, water endangered and extinct species, flora and fauna. Okay, so you guys can do it as assignment. Okay. Now, see the question number third. Discuss the effects of deforestation on the following: wild animals, how it affects wild animals. Yes, Ahmed.
Yes, sir.
How deforestation affects wild animals.
Sir, the forests are home of animals, wild animals, and
Yeah,
after deforestation, sir,
their
the
habitat is snatched from them.
yes, and the plant-eating animals don't get much food.
Exactly. So it is a source of nutrition from them as well. Since
Yes,
if there's no plants, there are three types of animals basically living in the forest. They are omnivorous, herbivorous,
yes,
carnivorous. They are scavengers as well that eats dead animals. So if there is no herbivorous, we know that survival of omnivores and carnivores will also be in danger. Okay.
yes.
Ahmed, Arhan, how it affects environment.
Sir, it ruins the water cycle, since and it basically ruins the whole ecosystem because tree is a nature. It is an important part for the ecosystem.
Okay. It will eventually lead to desertification. If the water cycle is disturbed, means there will be no rain in that region for a prolonged period of time. Hence, after several decades, it will start. That process of desertification has started, and it will convert into a desert. Okay, and the temperature will also rise. Okay, how it affects villages, rural areas, Ahmed.
Um,
We know the main occupation of people in rural areas is related with agriculture.
sir, and usually their houses are also made by raw wood and
Yes,
plant.
their life basically revolves around products obtained from forests,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so people collect firewood from forests, right? Medicinal plants from the forest. Okay, so in this way, their life is affected. Cities, how it affects cities? Look, in city, how it affects cities in this way. Look, there's a concept called urban heat island. Urban heat island. Look, if you cut down the forests and grow and do construction work there and grow and construct buildings there, okay, there is concrete pavement everywhere. There is no soil to be found there. Okay, so in that case, what will happen? The heat in that region will start to increase.
So can I tell the reason behind it? Excuse me, sir. I get you.
Sir, we can't hear you.
Excuse me, sir, your video is stuck.
Yes, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So where was I?
So you were explaining how it affects, how deforestation affects cities.
Yeah. So what happens there? The green cover, the vegetation is not there now. Okay, and it has been replaced with buildings, right? So what happens? Since there is no green cover, the heat coming from the sun, it will not be absorbed by the ground. It will be reflected back into the atmosphere, right? So
Yes, sir.
eventually, the overall temperature in cities will increase. Okay, and that leads to a phenomena called as urban heat island. Okay, heat generates from that region, and
Excuse me,
overall,
sir.
yes,
As Ahmed mentioned that reforestation helps trees reduce carbon dioxide, so carbon dioxide absorbs heat. So that will that be another case by which the heat,
yeah,
urban
yes,
places are heating?
yes, that will also be an important factor here. Okay, since in the urban areas you will find all the factories. Okay, and in urban areas you will see the houses are basically all of majority of the houses. In them you will find ACs and various equipments are installed that releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So there is more concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere in urban areas. Hence, that
Yes,
will
sir.
also lead to phenomena of urban heat island. And overall, Earth, we know it increases the heat and global warming. Okay. And the next generation, how it is affecting the next generation? The upcoming generation will be brought up in an environment where the temperature will be higher, there will be more pollution, impure air to breathe, and so on. And you see, this deforestation has such a global impact, has done damage on such a scale that after 10 to 20 years you will see the people living in urban areas, their childrens will have by birth their childrens will have so many defects in them. Okay, there will be genetic defects in their bodies. Are you getting it what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Like their
As
brain may be retarded, and their certain body parts may not grow properly. Okay,
Yes.
so over a long period of time the pollution can have impact on genes also, right guys? So some researchers, some studies also shows that people who live in very polluted cities, after a certain period of time, let's say a person was born in a city where which was very polluted. Okay, and let's say this person has spent 50 to 60 years of his life in that region. Okay, so in a study it was found that his brain, the growth of his brain was restricted to some percent. The growth of the person was restricted to some percent due to the pollution in that region. Okay, so there are several impacts of deforestation. Okay, question number 4 is also simply easy. What will happen if we go on cutting trees? Okay, it will simply lead to desertification, right guys?
yes, sir.
Okay, the habitat of an animal is disturbed, then what will happen, Ahmed? If the habitat of an animal is disturbed, what will happen?
Sir, the animals will go.
Yes. Okay. The animal will go extinct, or first it will become endangered, and it may go extinct as well.
And
The
so
top
the
layer of
ecosystem will also be disturbed.
exactly, the food chain will be disturbed, hence the ecosystem will also be disturbed. Okay. And if the top layer of soil is exposed, if the top layer of soil is exposed, it means that what?
So it will get eroded by either water or air. Because
Yeah,
of that, fertility of the soil will not remain, and it will not be able to grow crops in it.
exactly. Exactly. Okay. And question number 5 also. These are very basic questions. You guys can answer it as well. Okay. See this question. Some tribals depend on the jungle. How? How the life of tribal peoples depend on jungle? Question is to both of you.
For food, sir.
Can I answer that?
Okay. You answer this one. Then Ahmed will answer question number F here.
Okay, sir. And some tribals are still dependent on the jungle for their food, fuel, wood, etc., shelter, etc.
Yes. Okay. So they are basically all the activities which they perform. The source of their activity is jungles, right? Whether it's their occupation or whether it's the source of nutrition. Okay, all of it is coming from jungles only, right? And Ahmed, you answer question number last question. What do you understand by the term migration?
Uh, mm, I don't know this.
Migration, we talked about the migratory birds. Okay, that is in context to migratory birds. So many birds migrates from one region to another. Why? Because the climate there is not suitable for them to lay eggs. So they migrate to warmer areas where they can lay eggs, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. A term comes to mind to my mind here. Hibernation. You guys know what is hibernation? Deep
Yes,
sleep. Just why do certain animals hibernate?
sir, since the climate is not suitable for them and they cannot migrate either, so they go on a sleep for a long